first guest today is Rob Ralph, who is one of the original founders and now organizers with the Living Nativity. Great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. We are really excited. It is that time of year. Christmas is just around the corner, and it is time for the Living Nativity. And we've been doing some advertising in Desert Christian News. In fact, it's on the front cover of the December Desert Christian News magazine, and folks can pick that up to get more information. But we wanted to have you in the studio and show some photos and talk about this year's event. So tell us a little bit about the Living Nativity. This is the second annual event. Give us a little idea, because when I think of a Living Nativity before I saw last year's event, you know, I just think of like, you know, a couple high school students standing on a stage with a, you know, little plastic baby Jesus. It's not at all like that.
No, it's not just a manger scene that you see in a mall.
Okay.
And we wanted to make it something that more than that. And you know, the story of the birth of Jesus is more than just him, you know, being born in the manger. There's a story that leads up to it, and we tell that whole story.
Okay.
So all the way from the prophet Isaiah prophesying it, you know, 700-800 years before he was born. Okay. So it's good. I mean, we had some people last year that thought that.
Right.
They'd show up at 4:30 and we're still setting up, and they say, we just want to get a good seat. We've got their lawn chairs in hands. I said, you're like 2 hours too early. You need to come back. It's not like that.
Right.
But it's a great event. It's fun.
Yeah. And so it's actually like 9 separate scenes, and you walk through. It's at the Vintage Nursery, and we'll talk a little bit more about how people get there. But it's actually like going through a play almost that you walk through. Right.
Okay. And the original idea I had was for 8 different scenes to go across a stage.
Okay.
But what it turned into is to have now this year 9 scenes set up and let the people walk through it and give them something to do and experience it. And the way that we came into the venue at the Vintage Nursery was, it's just God. You know, everything there, we couldn't do it on a stage the way it's set up. And for people that went last year, know and understand that it's in the perfect place with the trees and the plants and the green grass and you know, and the shepherds that are out there in this grass pit with sheep out there, and there's a fire out there and everything, and so it's just awesome.
Okay. I mean, it really is. It's just loads of fun.
We want people to come and hang out for a place during Christmas, for another something to do during Christmas, but while they're there, for them to be able to get and understand the story of Christmas.
Right.
Not just going to the mall and seeing Santa or you know, driving, you know, through a neighborhood with pretty lights, and all that stuff's fun, but there's a deeper and more truer meaning to Christmas, and that's what we're trying to do, and creating that marketplace of Jerusalem. We want them to feel like they're going back in time. You know, everybody that is involved in it, in the Nativity, in any capacity, even that's, you know, pouring coffee or whatever, kids organizing kids crafts, they're all dressed up how people would look like, you know, 2,000 years ago. So
yeah, it really is an amazing experience, and a lot of fun for the whole family.
Yeah.
You just have to make sure you dress appropriately, because it can get a little bit chilly out there.
It can get cold, and I have a feeling this year might be a little colder just by the weather we've had lately.
Than last year.
But yeah, bring some walking shoes too, because you are walking. But it's worth it. And the walking keeps you warm. Yeah,
that's right. And huddle together.
Yes.
Huddle together with the family. Okay. Well, tell us about the partnerships and some of the sponsors for this year's event.
Well, there's about 15 or so different churches that we partner with to pull this off. It's not just one church. It's a community event that really was put together through the Love Movement with the Festival of Life that was in town earlier this year. And a lot of those churches are back this year. In fact, we have even more of people that went through last year and said, hey, we want to be a part of this next year. So so getting help has been a lot easier this year. But some of the people that help us out, Vintage Nursery, obviously, who provides facility for us, and they do a number of things for us. Belk Farms donates lights and portable bathrooms for us. You know, we get a lot of help and volunteer help from Desert Christian Academy, who's not a church, but their students there are heavily involved in our scenes. They actually do a scene for us also. So they are a part of that as well.
So it takes a combination of partners and sponsors and just a lot of churches and folks working together to handle, obviously, what's turned into a huge event. I think last year you said 3,500 people went through the Living Nativity over the 3 nights, and you're expecting even more people this year.
Yeah, we're hoping that there is more. 3,500 was, it wasn't what I was expecting, honestly. I was thinking if we had 500 to 1,000 people come through, I'd have been happy.
Right.
We had 900 people come through the first night.
Wow.
1,100 or so the second night, and then Sunday night was the biggest.
Wow.
You know, and we figured out, you know, the light went on Sunday morning when we left church, because we talked about it at church, was everybody that's come is doing the same thing today.
Right, they're talking about it.
And Sunday night was our biggest night. We had 1,300 people, and
wow.
and it was just amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, because it really was so outside, I think, of what people were expecting, that they went and told all their friends, "You've got to go see this. This is, you know, this is amazing. You got to come and experience it."
Yeah,
so.
and even outside of just the church family, word got out. I mean, I had a call on Sunday evening. I got a phone call from a concierge at one of the hotels in the desert, and said, "What are you guys doing over there? We heard about something," and we told them, and you know, so that's something that we're doing also, getting that word out to them early, so they can let people know that are in town. Visitors looking for something to do, to come out and see us.
Yeah, well, that's great. Tell us about some of the scenes that are going to be, you know, you told us about the scene with, you know, Isaiah the prophet. Obviously there's a scene with you know, Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus. One of the coolest things to me was all of the live animals. I mean, there was camels, there was, you know, sheep, there was, you know, there was all these live animals. But tell us about some of the other scenes. Yeah,
some of the other scenes, I mean, the scenes that go through Mary and Joseph when the angel Gabriel comes and visits them. We have the census, which is really a kind of a kick.
Yeah.
That scene, those guys really get into it, and you know, you're traveling down a dirt road and they stop you and take a head count, and that's how we know how many people came through also.
Right.
But they have a good time. Right. Some of the guys that were doing it last year recognized some kids or even their own kids, and you know, and started wrestling around with them and pulling them out of line and really playing the part.
Yeah. Those Roman soldiers, they were really into doing their bit.
Yeah, it was fun. But one of the scenes that I like is when the angel visits the shepherds and the multitude of angels, and where it ended up being, I kind of had an idea, but the way it turned out was just phenomenal. It's in the back of the nursery, and it's totally dark, and there's some shepherds down there with some live sheep in this grass pit that's at the nursery. It's kind of a retention basin, but it worked out perfect.
Good. Well, it's an awesome experience. Everybody in the audience really should turn out. So give us the details of when is it and where is it, and the dates and the times.
The dates are December 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Okay.
It's at from 6 to 9 p.m. all 3 nights, and it's at Vintage Nursery in Bermuda Dunes. Okay. The address is, I believe it's 78755 Darby Road.
Right.
There will be a big spotlight there lighting up the sky, so kind of follow the lights when you get in the vicinity of Fred Waring in Washington.
Right, you'll be able to,
and you'll be able
follow
to
the cars.
Follow the cars,
because there's bound to be a lot of traffic.
There will be traffic, and just be prepared. There will be a little bit of a wait, but you know, we have stuff outside with
bundle up your kids. Make sure you dress plenty warm. And, and there's going to be entertainment out front. We talked about that. There's the Hands on High Puppet Ministry will be back. There's going to be music and hot chocolate, and so even if you have to wait a little bit, just be patient and have some fun. Yeah,
it's worth it. It really is.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. And how can folks get more information? I know you guys have a site up now on Facebook, and there's also a phone number folks can call if they need more information.
Yeah, the Facebook is Living Nativity CV, and we're trying to put little things on there daily, myself and Eric Martin, just so people can get some information on that. And Russ, can I say, if you look at the screen on the bottom, you get the phone number?
Yeah.
Because I don't know what it is right now off the top of my head.
Yeah. We'll put the phone number across the bottom, 760-542-8432 if folks need more information. So we'll make sure to put all that information across the bottom of the screen. And we're just looking forward to another great year. You and I were talking off camera before we started. It just sounds like it's getting bigger and better, and I trust in the years to come it's going to continue to do the same and just become a holiday tradition in the desert that everybody waits and looks forward to going to the Living Nativity.
Yeah, we're hoping so.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all you do. I know you guys start working on this months in advance, and I know it's going to be another great year at the Living Nativity. So,
yeah, it will.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in. It's good to see you. All right. And stay with us. We'll be right back after this.